Hey, and welcome to this week's episode of Course Correction with me, your host, Michelle, on Between Us Girls. This week, I have a guest, a fellow podcaster here in Houston. Her name is Zakiya Hamm. She's a transplant from some other small town, which you will hear about if you keep listening. In the interest of networking, I went to two networking events myself this weekend. I went to the Womb Walk, hosted by My Womb. They're trying to raise funds to go around to different college campuses to provide womb care to young women. And I think that's like super, super important. So I really wanted to support them. I also was invited to the Skin Fix brunch here in town. That is a Canadian skincare brand that uses clean ingredients that have been clinically tested to like really like battle major skin conditions like hyperpigmentation, keratosis pilaris, eczema. There's even some results that have like tightened skin. So like it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode because we talk a lot about family relationships, what it's like to move to a place where you don't know anyone. And also, we get into a little bit of misogyny in podcasting. So stay tuned for that and I will catch you on the other side. Okay, so what is your zodiac sign so that I can properly stereotype you?
My zodiac sign, I'm a Gemini.
Okay, that's good energy. Well, I have a Gemini moon and Gemini rising, so I feel connected a little bit sometimes to Geminis and all that air. So
Yeah.
I guess I'll ask you this, like, do you feel like I mean, well, first, I don't know. Do you study zodiac at all, or you care about your sign or anything like that?
I've slightly studied zodiac signs. Like I honestly I tried to do like my birth chart and stuff, but I just don't really understand it. So I know that I need to do some more research and I just haven't had the chance to like sit down and like really
Got it.
take it all in. But I read a lot of people's the rising and the whatever all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually learned recently that my dad used to read people's birth charts, so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Um,
Really? I didn't
yeah.
even know older people do that shit. I thought it was just like a young people thing.
Well, he did when he was younger. I mean, this is whenever he was like probably in his 30s, which my dad,
Mhm.
but he would be like 69 now.
Okay.
Because, yeah, like I think in the 70s, it was kind of a booming thing to like start looking at all of that. And I think people were open to spirituality and just like, metaphysics and stuff like that.
Right.
But I think also there were a lot of people who associated it with like the occult, and coming from a Christian background, it's kind of difficult to toe that line. So I think that's what we see a lot. But so I want
Right.
to talk to you today about how you feel in regards to like misogyny in the podcast community. So let's talk about your
Right.
podcast a little bit before we get into that. So tell me about your show.
Okay, so my show originally started to like document my journey from moving from Connecticut to Houston. And so it was just basically like, okay, like here's what I'm doing, this is what's going on, like here's where I'm working, this is how things are going type of thing. And then eventually I transition over to like having conversations about like, like being an adult, like being trying to be independent, I should say, because before I moved here to Houston, I lived with my mother for 25 years of my life, my mom and my brother. So like I really don't know, I didn't know how to be independent, and just like figuring out relationships like as you become an adult, like with your family, most importantly, and your friends, because like I'm all the way here. Well, I moved in with my best friend, but I met her in college. But like, I still have friends back home in Connecticut, and like the relationships change, and like sometimes you just may never speak to some people ever again. And or you may get into arguments. Like I got into an argument with one of my friends back in May about like just the way the relationship was going, and we're not friends anymore because of that. But dating, talking about dating, especially like being in a new city, like, and also like getting your career started and being an entrepreneur or whatever, just having those conversations, because I feel like nobody really wants to give you that type of information. Like as far as like being an entrepreneur, being a first time entrepreneur and stuff like that. So just having honest conversations about things that we don't want to talk about. Like every time I talk about like the relationship with my family, like people just look at me like I'm crazy, but it's like everybody has fucking a shitty ass relationship with their family. And and my mother, I told her like, I kind of talk about that on the podcast, and she was not with it, but it was like, it is what it is. Like people need to hear this shit because
Yeah.
everybody's going through it. Yeah. So.
I'll say this to that. I think when you say everybody has a shitty relationship with their family, there is definitely some truth to that, because it's really like, even if it's not a shitty relationship, there's a lot of dysfunction there. But it's really
Right.
because really humans are not given the tools that are kind of required to have good relationships, because it just goes back to your emotional intelligence, like how you react to things, how you let people push you, pushing your buttons and that kind of stuff. And
Mhm.
it's weird how we get connected to our parents and our family. We just show up here, and then this is the person we're kind of stuck with.
Right.
And I feel like,
Right.
as far as entrepreneurship, and what you said about people not wanting to have the good conversations that are going to actually help people. I think it's important, and you need to keep sharing that information, because I think when you give people the tools, they're like, yes, I fucks with her. You know what I mean? As opposed to just,
Mhm.
I'm an entrepreneur. Okay, well, how did
Right.
like, what were the steps that you took, or did you have to work on yourself and that kind of thing? So
Right. And that's important too.
yeah,
Self
like I know you're
reflection.
absolutely, because that's how you figure out who you are and what you're supposed to
Right.
do. So, like, would you say that at your age, because I know you're a lot, not a lot younger, but a little bit younger than me. Do you think you know
Mhm.
what this is?
What is it? What
Do
was your
you think
question?
do you think you know at your age what your purpose is, or what purpose means?
I know what purpose means. Like I think I have an idea of what my purpose is. I know it's to like educate people and to like be a leader and then show people like, you could do anything that you want to do, like you don't have to be fearful in whatever it is that you want to do, because like I come from a small city, in Connecticut, and not a lot of people move out of the city, and not a lot of people do things that outside of the norm, where it's like, oh, people, they go to school or whatever, they graduate, they get a career, like they're therapists or teachers or whatever it is, and they have family, and that's just all they do. Like, no, like if there's something that you want to do, then you do that shit. Like, you know how many people turned their nose up at me like when I was about to move? Like, it was so funny because like at the time, like I was going to church when I was back home, and I had a church family, and it was like I had went to this girl that I grew up with. I went to her gender reveal party like a couple. I think it was a day before I left to come to Houston, and so like this lady from my church was there, and mind you, I grew up with this lady. Like we sang in the choir together. Like I saw her children grow up, whatever, blah blah blah. And I saw her at the gender reveal party, and I was like, yeah, like I'm moving to Houston tomorrow, whatever, blah blah blah. And she wasn't the only one, but she was like, oh, do you have a job? And I was like, no, I don't. And she was like, oh, you're gonna go to Houston without a job? And I'm like, yeah, what the fuck? Like, um, I'm gonna do what I need to do. And like I remember this other girl, she was like, "Oh, don't come back if you because you ain't find no job or whatever." Like, not even like congratulating me, just saying all these negative things. So it's like I just want to show people. I know my purpose is to show people like you could step out on faith and you could do things and you could work hard and show people that it's not always going to be easy, but it's possible that you can get shit done and you can live out your dream, whatever it is that you decide to do. So yeah.
Right. So it's good. Well, not good that you said, but it's interesting that you said that because my show has kind of taken that sort of direction. Whenever I had co-hosts, we talked about, general hot topics, some important community discussions, and just girl talking wine. But now it's just different. Now I'm kind of on a path of my own self-discovery. And so
Mhm.
every week when I talk to people, I just kind of talk about sort of what I'm going through. But really, the goal of this show is to focus on the person that I'm interviewing and to give the information behind how they became who they are. You know what I mean? So, like, for instance,
Right.
I might ask you what it was in you that made you want to say, fuck it, I got to get out of here.
Um well, at the time, like I had been out of school a year already, and like I was dating this guy, and not saying like the relationship was going bad, but we did break up. But it was like, I was living with my mom, I was making pretty decent money, and then I came out here to visit my best friend. And I was just like, there's no reason why I need to be here. Like I was coming home from work depressed as hell. Like I didn't feel like there was anything here that any reason why I needed to be in New Haven. Like, and not saying like I love my city like to death, but like there was no reason why I needed to be like, oh, I need to be here and I need to do this. Like, no, like I needed to go out and I need to be in the world and I needed people to see me and to hear me and to feel me, like I needed that because like I'm already like a social person, like I grew up, my mother put me in so many like extracurricular activities. Like that's why I think that's part of the reason why when I graduated college, I was like, oh shit, like what do I do now? Because like
Yeah.
I'm so used to like being on the move. Like even when I was in college, like I was on the step team, I was in NAACP, I
Yeah.
was on the radio club, like I was working two jobs, like
Yeah.
I was literally always on the move, like doing something. So like yeah, I just felt like, like the city is small, like I didn't feel like I was gonna grow here. I wasn't gonna figure out who Zakiya was. Like I wasn't gonna learn how to be independent. I wasn't gonna like make new friends if I stayed at in Connecticut. Like because I'm
Yeah.
just thinking like the friends that I have are friends that I met in high school or I met in college. Like the only reason why I have new friends is because I'm here in Houston, you
Yeah.
know?
And I think when you start to vibrate differently, I'm probably going to get sort of weird, but whatever. When you start to vibrate a little bit differently, nobody matches you, in a space like that
Mm-hmm.
because they're all
Right.
still on the same wave and you were just looking for more, you know what I mean? So you had
Right.
to move. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's really important. Like I had dinner with some of my friends from high school last night and they were like, we don't even know who you are because I just did like a full 180. Like I changed my mindset and I'm like, no, I'm out here. Like I'm going to get what's mine. You know what I'm saying? I truly
Right.
think. And I think in order for you to get to that point, you really do either have to go through some kind of trauma, a major,
Mm-hmm.
or you have to step out on faith, which like what you did in moving here with no job, because that's no
Right.
that you're going to eat. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like, what did you do when you got here?
Oh, well, I moved in with my best friend
Mhm.
and like I had money saved.
Yeah.
But I moved in with her. It only took me a month to find a job.
Yeah.
Um, and I was just like figuring it out. Like my best friend is like super introverted. Like we're the complete opposite as far as like personalities go. So like I basically had to figure out the city by myself. Like everything that I do, all the people that I know is like people that I went and I met myself, you know, like not nobody introduced me to nobody, like, you know. And it's funny because like my best friend, she moved to Denver in May, and like she'll text me all the time like, oh, I miss you, I want to hang out or whatever. And it's like when she was here, she never wanted to hang out, you know, like. And she sees that, well, part of the reason why I'm out so much and I'm doing so much is because, like, you know, I have the podcast and there's other things that I want to do. So like, yeah, I have to show my face in this city. Like I have to show up and I have to meet people, I have to shake their hand or whatever. Like this is what I have to do, this is a part of the lifestyle that I chose. But um yeah, it was rough. Like I cried a lot when I first moved here too. Like I remember like the first month I was here, like probably the first week I was here, this guy I went to high school with, not high school, middle school with, he died. Like he got shot, he got murdered or whatever. And like he had just been out of jail for like a year or whatever. And like my friends, they was going out and hanging out and stuff or whatever. And I was sad as fuck because I'm like, damn, like I'm missing out or whatever. But I was like, you know, this is what this is where like I'm supposed to be. And you know, it was rough. Like I feel like I'm just now getting to a place in my life where I could be like, okay, like I'm good. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I had to ask for help a
Yeah.
couple of times. Well, more than a couple of times, but I had to ask for help, you know. And but now I'm at the point where it's like I don't really don't need to ask for help. Like I could figure shit out on my own. But it
Yeah.
took me 3 years to get to this point. So
Yeah. But it
we
takes
out
time.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not an overnight process. You know what I mean? Especially when you're trying to figure out how to be okay, how to be good, how to feel fine,
Mhm.
uh, how
Right.
to make it without shit falling down every day, you know? It's not easy and it takes a long time. So, like,
Mhm.
talked a little bit about self-reflection. Like, what's your self-reflection process?
Jeez. My self-reflection process started last summer.
Mhm.
Um and I think this is like when I first learned about like accountability, cuz like I was dating this guy and we had gotten into it. And you know, he was basically saying like, you know, like I don't want to fuck with you anymore or whatever, blah blah blah. And I just couldn't figure out why. But then I had to understand, like, you know, like you played a role in this, Zakiya, and like you did X, Y, and Z. It's not just him. So like when I got to that point where I was just like, oh shit, like you're doing this to yourself and you're doing this, like I cried a lot. I isolated myself last summer, you know, because and it wasn't only just him, it was like my other relationships. Like, okay, like you're doing this, you're doing that, like this is not good, you know. And also like I started going to a temple with him as well. And the temple is like the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Okay.
And like the Quran that we read is written by Noble Drew Ali. And so like a lot of the Quran is about like knowing yourself. Like a lot of what he written is talking about like getting to know who you are and how to save yourself, you know? So like from reading that and like researching or whatever, like I learned a lot about spirituality, accountability, whatever, X, Y, and Z. So like I had to do a lot of soul searching and to figure out like who I am, like who is Zakiya, like what do you need to do, like. And so yeah, that's where, and I'm still like going through it, like
Yeah.
as far as like self reflection goes. Like um, it's funny. I was talking to my best friend today, and I was complaining to her, and then I text her after I got off the phone with her. I was like, damn, like I was complaining a lot today, you know, like, and I don't usually do that. And not saying that I don't ever complain, but like today I was like ODing with the complaints. Like, like I try to live in gratitude and be grateful for what, I have. So it's like I don't really have too many complaints, but like today I was like, oh shit. And she was like, no, it's okay or whatever. And I was like, I don't want to be a burden. But like I'm grateful that I could sit back and reflect on the fact like, okay, Zakiya, like you were talking a lot about X, Y, and Z today, and like you really didn't need to do that. Like, not saying I didn't need to, but it's like I know I could tell the difference in my conversations, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
You
Yeah.
know, you knew that
Right.
it was something that you need. I mean, maybe you just need to like take a break. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
A lot of time when I
Mhm.
find myself like grumpy, cranky, complaining, all that, I just need a break.
Right.
Because a lot
Yeah.
of time responsible for other people's everything, especially me as a mom.
Yeah.
I know all of us humans have spent a lot of time responsible for others,
Right.
and it's tough because whenever you get like that, you really do just need to sit with yourself and do your self-reflection. I practice meditation personally. I do
Mhm.
lots of breathing because otherwise somebody might get
Oh
hurt.
yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I started doing yoga last year and I started researching about meditation too. So like, yeah, I meditate every day. Um like I feel like yoga just saved my life entirely cuz like if not, I probably would be like on level 10 at all times. And like now like I'm way more calm, I'm way more patient, and like I still like certain interactions and certain people like show me that I still have a lot more to go as far as like
Yeah.
my patience goes or whatever. But like I know I've came a very, very, very long way. Like I don't go off on people as much as I
Okay.
should.
Won't
Like
right.
like I don't go off on people as much as I should,
Right.
but just know that I see you and I hear you and I'm gonna save you today, but don't ever think that it's gonna be sweet all the time. But like
Right.
yeah, I'm way more patient because of meditation and because of yoga. And like I listen like during the week, like I try not to listen to like any R&B, rap. Like I listen to a lot of meditation music, like at least Monday through Thursday I do.
Just to
I
keep
listen
your
to yeah, just to keep myself balanced. I listen to a lot of affirmations.
Mhm.
Um, I record my own affirmations, so
Yep.
I listen to myself, and I write down goals. I journal. Like I try to do like what I need to do to like stay as sane as possible, so I don't steer off in the
Yeah.
wrong path again. Yeah.
So easy. Like I was just talking to somebody right now and I was like, it's so funny to me that now that I'm in that space where I'm like, I got it. You know what I mean? Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
going, I know how to stay on my path. I know how to feel grateful. I know how to do that. I know how to live in joy, blah, blah, blah. The people who I had relationships with before that weren't vibing like that, here they come,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I feel like those are just tests that we have to
Mm-hmm.
kind of take you off of your path. And the more you
Right.
practice, the better you are at juking that shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's all it really takes is just practicing and working through it. But I'll say this to your point about you feeling like you were dumping on your homegirl. When
Mm-hmm.
I was like that recently, I told somebody, I'm sorry, because that was a lot I gave you. And
Mm-hmm.
what they said to me was like, I'm good. Like, I don't know what their 10 is. Their 10 might,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? So where I
Right.
let that go, they have space for that.
Right.
Good to have those kinds of people that you can go to because I think the misconception about people who practice positivity and law of attraction and that kind of thing is that they don't have moments where they need to vent or they don't
Yeah.
have times where they need to be human. That's not true. We all do. It's just
Right.
about, finding your center after that. But you got to get it out. If you don't talk to a person, write it in the book. You know what I mean?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Out to yourself, like you said, just to get it out.
Yeah.
Um, so you're back with the podcast you're on now?
No, I'm not on as of right now. Like I bought some new equipment and like I'm in the middle of moving and like it's just like a lot of shit going on, but it doesn't look like but I am moving this upcoming weekend. So like I've been trying to get that together. Like I don't want anybody over here while it's a bunch of boxes and stuff like that. So like once I get into the new place and like we unpack and everything gets settled, then yeah, I will start again. But and I thought about doing it like this past week, but I'm like I don't want anybody in here while all these boxes are around, you know,
Yeah,
and my apartment looks a mess. Yeah, so
that's the hard part about when you're podcasting and then you're having to invite strangers to your house.
right.
Uh,
Mhm.
gotta be prepared for that. And like that's kind of why now I just do the Skype calls because first of all, I'm super, super busy, especially with the consulting and my kids and my regular job and everything. Uh,
Mhm.
but also I'm just more comfortable like this, you know,
Right.
it's then I don't have to try to ready my space. I don't have to try to
Right.
put mics together. I don't have to try to, make my kids be quiet or any, you know what I mean? Like just this whole array of extra issues that
Getting it
are kind of unnecessary. So
right. No,
yeah,
I feel you.
but
I was gonna say people, and that also goes back to like the first initial question you asked me about the whole misogyny thing with
yes,
podcasting, and it's like, you know, there's a lot of men that I met in the whole podcasting thing or whatever, and they'll basically tell me like, oh, you're not doing enough, so I don't want to work with you or whatever, blah blah blah, and it's like nigga, like, do you understand? Like, I'm out here doing it by myself. Like, I don't have a significant other. I don't have a team. I don't have a wife. I don't have a fiance. Like, I don't have all these things that are like, I could be like, oh, okay, like, can you do this for me? Can you clean up? Or can you set up the mics like while I'm at work or whatever? Blah, blah, blah. So it's like, sometimes it gets overwhelming. Yes. What the fuck? Like, it does. Like, whatever. And I don't know if you follow her name is Myleek. And
yes,
she does curl box. Yeah, she
yeah,
does
I know.
podcasts too, but she does it like on her own time or whatever whenever she feels like putting out episode. But she also says like she does a lot of things and she doesn't always have the time to do it or whatever, and sometimes she's overwhelmed or whatever because it's like she's doing it by herself, you know, like people
Yeah,
don't take that into consideration. It's like, yeah, sometimes I get discouraged and it's like I don't really have a friend or somebody by my side to be like, hey, like, can you help me with this? And it's like when I tried, it just never worked out. So it's like I'm just taking my time now because like I not saying like it has to be perfect, but it's like if I'm gonna do it, like I want it to like make
you're
sense for
right.
myself,
Yeah.
my life, you know, at this point.
Well, it's your show, so if you want it to
Yeah.
be packaged with the fucking bow on it, then you have the right to do that.
Right.
I had to tell myself that it was okay that I don't have a bow because I'm
Mhm.
going, because I
Right.
my infrastructure, um,
Mhm.
and losing my co-host in that way. So I lost my infrastructure also. So it's like, well, fuck, how do I keep podcasting when I don't have other girls and I'm not talking about what sometimes to me it seems like nonsense. And
Mhm.
I sometimes I'll drink wine now, but like I don't always have wine. Like it's a different show. So
Right.
I had to convince myself that it was okay for me to do that. And it took me a while to kind of figure out how I want to do it. I think I had like 10 to maybe 12 episodes where I was just like, okay. But like now I kind of have,
Mhm.
and I used it as a tool to teach me, like
Right.
I talk to are people who can teach me something or are people who can teach the audience something, just like you said. I
Mhm.
try to look at it for what it is, which is a teaching tool as opposed to something that's supposed to look perfect. And
Right.
that's how I keep going. And I keep telling myself I'm okay while I'm Skyping from the closet.
Nah, I think that's admirable because it's like you're not the only person doing it, you know, like there's other people out there, but people feel like, okay, well, if you're not doing it this way, then you're not good enough. And it's like, that is not always the case. Like, you know, like, a lot of people that have co-hosts and have teams, like, they don't understand like what it's like to do things by yourself, like, and to figure it out by yourself. Like, I don't have anybody to run ideas by. Like, it's fucking me. Like, you know, like, I
I'm up.
mean, yeah, I have you. I know, but it's just like, you know, in the beginning, it was just like I was just trying to figure it out, and
Yeah.
like I felt like at some points like I was being left out at certain. Well, now I don't care anymore as much. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't care at all anymore. Like, what I did, there was a point in, you know, this whole podcasting thing where I did care and I wanted to be included, but now I don't give a fuck and I'm not showing up to nobody's shit anymore. Like, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm done being friendly.
Right.
Like, I'm over it. Like, I'm just
The
over
same
it.
feelings because I felt
Yeah.
like, especially here in town, I felt like, well, I was one of the first to go 100 episodes or
Hmm.
more, but they still don't respect me.
Yeah.
Like, they
It's
don't invite
sad.
with them. They don't
Hmm.
come to me and say, hey, much respect, blah blah blah. I ain't seen nobody else on the fucking Chronicle, but they don't respect me. You know,
Hmm.
like I don't get people who are like, hey, we want to work with you. Gosh, I really like, no, what they do to me is take my ideas and then go make their own shit that is okay, I guess. But the thing about that is when you take someone else's idea, you then
It's
are trying to,
never gonna be as good.
right, because you're trying to create my vision without my
Right.
vision. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You have to do. That's why. What the point of this? What I'm trying to say, because like not very eloquently, because first of all, because I had this fucking wine. But what I'm trying to say is, your show doesn't have to be perfect because it's supposed to be you. You're just
Right.
presenting yourself however you are, you know, and
Right.
it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be the fucking read. And that's
Right.
everybody want to be the read. Well, only the
Right.
can be the read. Only
Right.
it can be the read, and only I
Right.
between us girls. And you know, only you can be facts of life. I can't ever try to make a show just like yours. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I
Mhm.
feel like we need to show each other more respect because, like you said, it does take a lot of work. There's sometimes I don't feel like editing shit.
Mhm.
I don't feel like editing. I don't feel like coming up with a damn episode cover. I don't feel like saying shit. I don't feel like posting all over everywhere. And so I don't if I don't. You know?
Right.
But there was a time when I think an advertiser or a sponsor came and was like, well, I know it said you're supposed to release weekly, but sometimes I see it's every 2 weeks. I was like, yeah, sometimes it is every 2 weeks. Is that a problem? And if it is,
Right.
well, you don't have to work with me, you know?
I got you.
I mean,
Yeah. I
you
don't
still have to
know.
put your way, you know, however you want to do it. If you want to do it again, shit, you might decide you want to try to go to YouTube. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just doing audio like you were doing or whatever.
Right. And that's funny you said that because I thought about, well, I shouldn't say I thought about, like, I did try to start vlogging. I did one vlog, but I just haven't posted it publicly for everybody to see.
Mm.
Um, but I am trying it out to see, like, you know, if it's something that I want to do, because like vlogging is another commitment that I don't know if I'm 100% sure I want to commit to at the at the moment. So it's like I'm just trying it out just to see like how it goes, and then from there, you know, I'll make a decision. But um yeah, I think I'm just doing my best to take it like one day at a time, you know, just to see like what's working for me, what's not working for me. Like this time around, like I am doing some more research, like, and so yeah, that's where I'm at with my
Yeah.
show.
So what do you think we should do in regards to like men? Because remember Joe Budden had said something. I think we talked about this when we first met. Joe Budden
Mhm.
said, "Oh, when y'all try to start an all-female podcast, y'all get the ugliest girls. or something wild like that. And it's just like,
He said that on his show?
yeah.
Oh, really? I missed that.
Yeah, this was like, maybe, I guess maybe it was about 4 or 5 months ago. Might have been longer than that. But I remember somebody was like, y'all should tag him. And I did. I was tagging him for a while. I was like, I thought you said everybody was ugly. I thought you said everybody. He never responded. Not to me, but,
right. Yeah.
because it's like, I feel like that's just wrong. Like, why take that and turn it into something so stupid?
Right. Um, my thoughts on that, like, especially like with Joe, like, I think that him and Maul, and I don't know too much about Rory. But I just think that they like a certain type of woman, you know, and they just give themselves away all the time when they start talking about women and dating women. So it's like, no, maybe the girls that have podcasts are not your type. And I would rather you just say that than say, like, oh, the girls are ugly, because it's like, we all know you have a type,
Right.
when it comes to women. And we are not your type,
Yeah.
period. Like, that's just what it is. But I mean that's my thoughts, like, as far as, like, the women podcast goes, because, like, that is far from the truth that the women that have podcasts are ugly, or all female hosts are ugly. Like, that's not true. That is
Right.
not true. It's just probably women that you're not even checking for, like,
Right. And then it's like,
like,
if you're not checking for me, that's fine, but just keep that shit. Because I feel like that takes away from the important notes, which are respect my craft, respect what I'm doing.
right,
Because
right,
you have a team editing your shit. Like, most of us out here do not have that. And so
right,
I don't have anybody recording my stuff. I don't have nobody editing. I don't have nobody posting it. I don't have anybody writing my notes. None of that shit. I don't have anybody marketing for me. All that stuff I'm doing myself. So for you to take all of that, you're just going to ignore all of those things and say, well, you're not cute. First of all, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Exactly. That's why, like, when he starts talking about women, like, not until recently, like, I really, like, started understanding that Joe likes a certain type of woman, and, like, he talks about, like, his dating experiences, and that's the reason why his ass ain't fucking married, because
right,
you're dating a certain type of woman. You keep dating the same type of fucking woman,
right,
like, that's why your relationships are not lasting, because, like, all the girl, like, publicly, I should say, all the women that he's dated, they're pretty much all the same. They're Hispanic women, like, they have big butts, they're models, or whatever the case is. They're all over on the
that's,
internet, like, that's just what it is. Like, you're trying to play Captain Save-A-Ho with them,
yeah,
and then, so it's like, I feel like he's coming from a scorned place as well. That's why whenever he starts talking about women, I'm just like, shut the fuck up.
right.
Like,
You're not the authority.
right, exactly. Like, he's just scorned, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And he
Well,
kind of admits it sometimes, but, like, I just want better for him.
yeah, right. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I better for him, instead of being like I was like FDN. You're like, I just want more.
Mhm.
I just want him to want more for himself.
Right, exactly. No, seriously, because it's like, obviously he wants to get married because he proposed to homegirl, whatever, but it's like, and then you're also dating women that are way younger than you, like 20 years younger than you.
Talking about
Not
someone
20,
with
but
a
like
lifetime,
15, 20. Yeah. So it's like, what the fuck
and
do you expect?
they're like, I'm looking for somebody who is going to give me the most money right now.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
if you're that person, great. But he's like,
Right.
let's build a lasting connection. They're like, I'm going to build one with your wallet. So let's do that.
And that's,
No, I just
and
go ahead.
and I know, I shouldn't say I noticed, but this is not the first time I've heard women doing things like that. Like whether it's money or a baby, if they get what they want, like they just move on, and
Yeah. Man,
you just gotta be more careful.
it's crazy you said that because last week I was so bothered by something I saw where it was like this lady was getting a divorce, but I think she had only been married for like a year and she just had the baby and then she was like, bye. I think that is so wrong.
Yeah,
It's,
I agree.
you're really just using that man for his sperm
Right.
and his
You should
pocketbook.
have just been honest. Yeah, you should have just been honest and be like, hey, like, and I feel like it's okay if you say like, I don't want to be committed. Like and some people, some men and women, they agree like, hey, like let's just have a baby together and like let's
Yeah.
just be friends, like you'll find somebody like that, but being deceitful is just like
Well, and I'm not sure if it's a full-fledged deceit or if it's just like my goal is to have a child.
mm-hmm.
Get into that relationship, you're hyper focused on, I said I want this baby. And to
Mm-hmm.
have the baby, you realize you don't even like that dude.
You're right.
So he's a lot easier to cut off because you're like,
Damn.
I don't need you. I never wanted your ass anyway. I got the baby now.
Right.
So,
Damn.
girl, we done went all off on the tangent.
We did.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. But I'll say this. I think I'm not going to be concerned anymore with whether or not people want to work with me. And I'm just
Mm-hmm.
in town or elsewhere because really since you and I scheduled this interview, several people have reached out to me, like men even, and wanted me to come talk to them or wanted to come talk to me. So I was like, okay, so let me find out there are some people with some sense in this world. So I'm just gonna take it one day at a time. And if you need
Right.
if you decide you want to kick off your show and you want to talk to me about how to do it, I'm open to that.
Okay, I appreciate that because like not too many people do that, and if they do, like they like just act funny or they act like, oh well, I know it all and you don't know anything, and it's like, I've been to some of y'all shows and I've listened to some of y'all episodes, and like I've been on a couple of y'all shows or whatever, and like I looked at the numbers. And I looked at the numbers when I was on the show versus when I wasn't on the show, like, and so I know that I have a gift, like I
Yeah,
know that. But people just want to be funny. And it's like, I just don't, I'm at the point where it's like, whether it comes to business or whether it comes to my personal life, dating, like I'm just not with it anymore. If you're not doing what I feel like is aligned with what I want or what I need in my life at this point, like I'm just good. Like I'm over it. Like I don't care if we was talking for a week or 2 days. Like you can go. You can go
yeah,
because like I'm better off by myself and doing shit, getting shit done by myself.
absolutely,
Period. Like
absolutely.
that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's important. Like,
Yeah.
um, my friend Fernando, he's a psychic. I feel like I talk about him all the time, but anyway,
Oh, really? A psychic?
yeah, he's a psychic.
Mm.
He,
In
sometimes
Houston?
he'll record me. He used to be. He actually, he said when he came on our show the first time, he was like, "I want to move to Santa Fe. I think that's where he lives." And sure enough, now he lives in Santa Fe.
Like Texas or
That's
California?
in New Mexico.
Oh, New Mexico. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's where he lives. But yeah, he recently told me he was like, it's okay to say no to an opportunity if it's not aligned with your mission and your purpose. So as
Mm-hmm.
um,
I ain't
so
wasting no more time with these jokers.
right, you got. Oh, I've been listening to that song all weekend, but the words resonate so clearly because, like, even though, like, okay, Chris Brown is kind of bullshit, whatever, but the
I
lyrics,
love him though.
I do too. I feel like
He's
I
like my
understand
guilty
his
pleasure.
struggle. Well, I
Yeah.
understand that he's a human person who is having an experience, and whatever he's been through has made him this person. So all of that shit is not good. And if you don't know
Right.
how to grow through shit,
Mhm.
type of person who might beat a bitch up. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like things like that. So
Right.
I just try to look at people from a human place.
Mhm.
I have struggled, and I haven't always been, on the up and up. Shit, sometimes I can be bullshit too,
Right. Exactly.
just try to exercise a little bit of grace with people because I mean, every human emotion or every action, I've been angry. You know what I mean? I've been
Mhm.
out of control. I've been excessively emotional. I'm also a Taurus like him. So
Mhm.
like I like breezy. I do. And I like that
I
song.
do too. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah. And I like that
He's a
song.
great performer too.
Yeah.
So.
And his dancing,
Mhm.
like he rivals Michael Jackson. Like who
Yeah, he's a great dancer.
else?
Mhm.
Another person that can put on a show. I mean, yes, Beyonce, okay, but still, like as far as a dancer,
Like freestyle, yeah, no.
yeah,
I would say like maybe Sierra, but I
yeah,
haven't seen her perform live before. But I know she's a good dancer. But that's the only other person I could really like think of that could freestyle like, off the top like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But you know what? And this kind of goes back to what we were talking about. He don't give a fuck. He keeps showing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, even though there's all these blemishes on him, and people say what they're gonna say
He
about him,
don't.
keep showing up. That's what
Mhm.
I do. It's
That's
just,
all you could do. Yeah.
yeah,
Seriously. And I feel like one day, whether it's in this lifetime or the next lifetime, like he'll figure it out, whatever it is that he needs to figure out. That's why I fucks with him because it's like I've had people in my family that struggle with drugs or whatever the case is, and there's people in my family still battling that shit. It's like it's a demon, like, and sometimes I I don't know their whole experience, but from my experience with them, like it's just like it's like has a hold on you almost. Like it's like you don't know any better in a way. Like you know better, but it's like you don't know better, if
you
that
really
makes
don't,
sense.
because
Yeah.
you're using those drugs as a coping tool. So if
Right.
you
And then you're
don't,
using it for years at a time.
right, and then of course
Mhm.
you're so addicted to it, you don't know whether you're coming or going. But a lot of
Mhm.
drugs initially because of life experience. I'm sad.
Right.
These people got drugs. I'm fixing to go get fucked up. I'm just like
Mhm.
addicted to sex. I'm sad. I'm about to go get this dick. Like everybody,
Mhm.
I think what we need to remember is we're all going through something, like you said, about
Right.
family. So in this, I'm so elevated. No, you're not.
Right.
No, you're not. You
Right.
got somebody in your family that's fucked up too. And it might be your ass. You know what I mean? Like,
Seriously.
yeah.
Seriously. Like I shit. And like I'm at the point where it's like, I love my family. Like those are my peoples, but like I barely talk to them now because it's just too much for me to handle at this point. Like I've dealt with it for 25 years of my life. I dealt with people stealing from me
Yeah.
and like all types of shit, like trying to fight me and
Yeah.
like it's just
It does
craziness. And
feel
it's just now, right? And it's now like I'm an adult. It's like I don't have to deal with this shit. Like I don't need your help anymore. I don't have to sit through you fucking verbally abusing me and calling me
yeah.
all types of names and shit and stealing from me and lying to me. Like I don't gotta deal with that shit. Like bye.
You know what? You're a growth warrior after
Mhm.
that. That's what I've been saying, like probably for the last couple of weeks. Probably gonna be a new catchphrase. I probably have a shirt next time that say growth warrior. I don't fucking know.
I fucks
But
with it.
all of that stuff grew you. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
the person who is self-aware, the person who realized I know you fucking lying. There's something else out there for me. If you hadn't
Mhm.
and saw these things that you were like, I hate this.
Right.
It's not it. You know what
Like
I
I
mean?
deserve better. Whether
Right.
it's coming from my family, friends, boyfriends, whoever, employers, like I'm focused on elevating my life and upgrading my life and in all aspects, whether it's my car, where I live, the type of money I make, the people I hang out with, where I hang out, where I eat, whatever. Like that's what I'm interested in, like upgrading my life because like eventually like, I want to have children and it's like I want them to live good. Like I want them to be in a good space, period. Like
Yeah.
wherever the space is, I want them to be good at all costs. And not saying like, they're always gonna be happy go lucky all the time, but
No,
I
because they're
want
not.
to at least right. I want to at least do my best to provide that, I should
Yeah.
say.
And I think you're doing the right work because
Yeah.
in knowing that you have come from stock that was a little bit dysfunctional,
Mhm.
babies, but you're going to have gone through the healing before they come
Right.
because I did not do that. And so
Mhm.
now here I am. My son's going to be 15 on Tuesday. My daughter's
Oh
6.
wow.
I'm 35. And I'm having to unpack all of the shit that I kind of did to them. And not
Mhm.
intentionally, but just in my own inability to cope. And so
Right.
now that I know better, I'm just trying to do better. So
Right.
what I'm telling you is you're doing the right thing by working on yourself before you have the children, because then there's no chance for you to just pass all the toxicity. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mhm.
I'm
But
like,
that's
look
good though that you're
out.
you're recognizing that and you're doing the work cuz like a lot of parents like they don't even do that. Like they can't even do that, like and so like I respect that and I appreciate, women and it's funny cuz like my close friends, well one of my best friends from back home, she's pregnant right now and she I'm actually going back home in December for her baby shower. But like besides her, like I started meeting women out here that have children or are married or whatever. And I just like appreciate like who they are, one as people, and like two, like how they treat their children because like I have never seen that before, like I have never had good examples in my life. I'm not saying like my mom was a bad mom, but like she never spoke to us gently and like did
No.
positive reinforcement and
Yeah.
said like you're great, you're gonna do amazing, like things like that, like affirmations and speaking
Yeah.
life into you. Like I never experienced no shit like that, so like just watching women like it's been here in the South, I ain't gonna lie, like doing that to their children and like trying to be a better example, like it's just so refreshing. So it's like I respect that, like
Yeah. But
that you're recognizing that.
well, and just in working on this, it's like I've been having to share with my own mom just things that I discover. And it does hurt her sometimes. But I want
Mm,
to know that it's like I don't think she's bad. And I
right.
appreciate what she did, but she couldn't do what she didn't know. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and if she didn't realize that it was that big of a problem or that she even had the ability to fix it,
Right.
would have. And so I don't have any regrets about the way I grew up. I mean, my dad never spoke to us gently either. My dad was like, motherfucker, you better, you know what I mean? And so
Mm-hmm.
like the thing is that I caught myself, and I never call my kids motherfucker or anything like that, but I would come home from work and be like, like
Yeah.
that's full of that grumpy work energy. And I just
Mm,
stopped doing that. So it was just that one thing that I wanted to stop doing that led me to discovering all these other really amazing tools. Like I'm going to give them something different because they're not the same age. But for my daughter, I'm going to put a chart together and get her some little cards that just like, have emotions on them, like angry, hurt, that kind of thing. So we can go
right.
what she experienced during the day. And so I can start giving them new coping tools so that they don't
Right.
throw themselves on the floor or throw something or break something, because that
Mhm.
we always did at my house. If you were angry, you're just gonna break something.
Right.
I'm so mad. Ugh. Which I totally get it. But like now you have to clean up the mess.
Right.
Now you
And
have to
it's
go
like the problem still ain't even solved.
right, because the shit is still there. And so that is what I have actually learned, is just like the shit's still gonna be there.
Right.
So the person that has to change is not the person you thought was making you mad or this person who's pressing on you. It's you,
Right.
you know? So yeah,
Mhm.
we have a lot of work to do over here, but I am doing the work.
I
So
love it.
thank you. So real quick, just tell everybody where they can find you.
Okay, so Facts of Life is on Instagram, Facts of Life Podcast. Facts I got my Twitter back. So Facts of Life Pod on Twitter. And then I'll give out my personal Instagram. I'm 5'2". So I am as in Mary, the number 5, foot FOOTTWO. So
Okay.
I'm 5'2" on Instagram. I ain't giving out my personal Twitter because I be talking too much on there. But but yes, that's where you can find me. And yeah, I'm working on the website too. So as soon as
Let me,
it's up and running, I will send you the link. So it's
okay.
gonna be my one-stop shop for everything that I'm doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And let me know if
Yes.
you need help with that too, okay? I'm serious.
Okay.
You need help because I started this creative consulting. I want to consult with other creatives. And so like, like even the people I talk to in podcasting, if they need help, I mean, that's what I'm here for. It's just
Okay.
to map out your idea. Because like, for instance, let's say you're like, okay, well, I want to do the YouTube, but you don't really know how to get it from up here onto the paper and then in this 3D experience. So I have
Right.
to map it out, and then we just go through the steps on how to get it executed.
Okay. I could do
Yeah.
that. Yeah, because I definitely took a break from doing the website because I just got overwhelmed and the storm came,
Yeah.
and so like that stressed me out like 100% because I was thrown off. But yeah, I definitely took a break, and then I'm moving this week. So like after this week, I should be like up and run. Well, I should start working on it again because like I'm kind of sort of almost done, but not really. So
Yeah.
yeah,
You're probably almost done. You probably
yeah,
just about finished. You're probably being a perfectionist a little bit about it, and that's okay.
I
That's
am.
that's okay. It's your project, if you want
Yeah,
to however many times, it's totally okay. Well, I
right.
appreciate you coming on and talking to me finally. I'm sorry it took so long to get this together.
No, it's okay.
All right, so that was this week's episode. I hope you liked that episode of me and Zakiya talking about the straight facts of life. And we did sip a little bit of tea, and I appreciate that because it has been a while since I had a girl to talk to and sip some tea. If you are interested in hearing some girl talk and wine, please, please, please be watching my Instagram feed, my Facebook, and yes, if you're subscribed to the newsletter, you will get information there. I'm actually going to use it. Who'd have thunk it? But we have an event coming up, and I don't want you guys to miss it. It's going to be in December, and the ladies are going to take over. So I'll see you guys next week. And if you're listening to this across the world, thank you.